On today's episode of the Jamaican Cooking Journey, I'll be sharing with you a little callaloo and a corned beef wrap. But you know, before we go into our video, I just want to say thanks to the people coming onto the page that are new, those that were there with me from the beginning. You know, I just always continue to welcome you back and also to thank you. Special shout outs going out to my patrons. If you would like to be a part of my Patreon family, you can click on the link in the description and join us right on over there. Our post notification shout outs today, they will always go right up top there. Callaloo and corned beef wrap. I'm going to be doing that my way. So first of all, I've got here my callaloo, homegrown, nicely shredded, and all of that. You can see it's properly done, ready for cooking. I'm going to be using some corned beef. This is my brand of choice. I'm going to be making my tortilla wraps. Okay, so right in here I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and I'm going to be putting it right there. Also going to be sifting this out to get some air trap in there. Yeah, all-purpose flour is the order of the day. Probably you could use bread flour, but I would say you sift it out a few more times. So depending on the quality of your all-purpose flour, I'm sifting it out just like this. For me, salt must be added. Salt have to add to bring out the flavor. I'm gonna put like about this. So I would say about, it's less than half of a teaspoon. Now I will be putting a little baking powder, but look here, I don't need a lot in this 2 cup of flour, so I think I'll be putting about this, and it says 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder, and that's the lot. I'll sift them. A nice little mix, whether you want to use your hand or whatever. Nice little mix to get the baking powder and the salt, you know, all mixed in thoroughly or evenly, so to speak. You can also at this point taste a little of your mixture and find out if the salt is enough. All distributed. Yeah. To this I'm going to be adding some hot water to mix the dough. And as I always share with you, don't put all the water at once. You just pour it accordingly until you get the consistency of the dough that you would like. You must know what's at the dough, where you want the dough for do, how the dough for look. You need to know that before, you know. If you want a soft dough, if you want a shaggy dough, do you want a stiff dough? You must know. Always know that ahead of time. So, you know, you throw the water according to. So you throw it and you see say you have enough to make the dough where you look for. That's okay. Okay. So this is like pretty warm. So I'm going to just put this little that I have. Nothing much. So my hand can manage it at this point. So I'm going to be, you know, moving my hand around in this. It's still pretty warm. Gonna let it cool out a bit. Okay, so this is what we have. My dough is a bit too soft, so all I need to do is just sift a little extra flour. When making doughs for specific recipes or a specific dough for something, it is very hard for you to say, oh, 2 cups of flour to a cup of water, 3/4 cups of water. That may be so. It may work for you, the person doing it, because you have a specific type of flour. Sometimes it doesn't work for you. But sometimes when it don't work, they don't show you. So all you have to do, simple common sense. If you use the amount of water that is required and it gets too soft, you just add a little extra dried flour or whatever you're using. If it is too hard, you just add a little extra water. Just simple common sense. So my dough here is a little soft, so I'm just going to be adding probably about a tablespoon of extra flour. I'm going to sift it in. Come back. Oh, it's okay. So our dough is like ready. Give it a few kneads, ball it around a little, so you're working with a soft dough. You see that? So this dough, you have to leave this dough for about 20 to 25 minutes. You know, you see it's rough and so we're gonna leave it for 20 to 25 minutes. We're gonna let the gluten, let the dough be relaxed, and the gluten start, you know, releasing itself. I'm gonna cover it with a piece of plastic wrap because where I am right now, the time is very cold. It's not a yeast dough, so no worry about that. You know, but I just like the dough to be warm and soft. Yeah, so it works better for me. Next clip. Gonna be preparing for my callaloo whilst my dough gets fermented. So this is fresh scallions from my garden. So I just cut off the green top because most of the green part I want for the flavoring. Wow, smells so good. Actually, I am using some scallions. Not the first I cut from it, fam. So I don't know if you ever remember. I don't know if I ever show no. This is like a little fast moving, free and cutting. I understand. Remember, I am a Jamaican. But if you intend to do this dish, if you or whenever you watch it, you can get your cutting board, put down, do your daintiness, and do everything and put it over the callaloo. But for me, right now, sometimes when you're strapped for time and all of them sitting there, that's how we do it. That's how we Jamaicans do it. We move fast. Free and cutting takes us really fast, you know. So garlic for me, lots of grated garlic. If you want to put onions, you can. I don't want to put onions, so whatever you want to put here, whatever you do here, bell peppers, onions, anything you want to put here, you put it. So normally you would see me just like, you know, saute down my seasonings and so for my callaloo, but this time no, I'm not going to be doing it that way. I'm just going to be doing it this little way. So I'm going to put some butter in at the top, no oil this time, and that's the lot I'll be putting on my cover. Next clip, it will be on my stove. So on my stove right here, I'm going to turn it down to the lowest. You notice I didn't put any liquid or anything. This is how it looks. I have not added my salt as yet because this corned beef, you know, it's salt based. So I'm going to let it steam whilst my dough here is being rested. And in the next clip, because I have to have this all finished up, have it all cool out, because it's corned beef and callaloo wrapper. Okay? Let's check on our callaloo. Yes, it is steaming down. So our butter is melting, or almost melted. So we're going to mix in every little thing that we have. If you want to put a little black pepper, which I can too, it doesn't matter. We can. You see that? So if you are somebody that likes your callaloo crunchy, you can at this point deal with your thing. I'm not a crunchy callaloo person, so at this point I'm going to have my callaloo steam down a little more. You see that? I didn't put any water, but you see what has happened? And it depends too. If your callaloo is like really young, yeah, callaloo all and tough, you know, so it all go on with that bag of things. So look here. I'm going to add a little black pepper, because you know the corned beef will go in there. Give it another 3 minutes. Let it steam down a little more. And then I'm going to come back. We're making callaloo and corned beef wrap. Next clip. So, okay. My callaloo has steamed down some more. Still not fully there. You see it? Yeah, so what I'm going to do now, I'm not going to use all of my corned beef. So I'm going to use a part of it. So you see me cut my corned beef, wash my tin, and I don't know all of that. So I'm going to put as much as I want in here. You can have this with rice. You can have it with, for the people who specialize in a dumpling, you can have it with dumpling. You can have this with a little mashed potatoes. You can have it with whatever you want, you know, but I'm making this in a wrap. I did add a little corned beef of camera. You can add a little. I didn't use Scotch bonnet because, you know, I could, but I did not. So I think this is enough for me. So if you like more, you can something there and deal with more and all of that. So at this point, when we are ready, if we need a little extra, which I think I will not need any salt, because these corned beef, they have a whole heap of salt content in there. Wait, pan. You can turn your flame up now a little because it has produced some liquid or some juices. So for me, I'm gonna make it steam down some more. Looking lovely. So if you want to put some red and some yellow bell pepper and whatever, you know, but that's just me. Next clip. Onto our dough. Now we are come back to our dough. Let's see what's our dough is saying. Dough is here. First thing you want to do, put an indent with one of your finger. Once you see it stay down, you know our dough is like what we need it to be. You want to roll it out on your surface, wherever. Make your surface be nice. See, it's not sticking and all of that. Really soft. We have got this heavy thing. It's a heavy thing. So we're leaving it to be preheated right there. And this is a little tricky part where some people cannot get, but you know, I'm never sure if me still so get it. So let us see if we can get 4 of these little wraps. I might not be accurate. So let's look at it. Yeah. So if you have your, what's that thing? Your scale, you can play around with your scale. We are trying to make some little, something like roti, like a tortilla wraps. You just wanna slightly flour. So this is where the sticky part come in. So you just make like you make a little dumpling. Now does that me do? You know, it don't matter if it even stay around or anything. And these cook really fast. It's not something where we are go. Yeah. So maybe you know how to do it already, so you do it. So you roll one way. Handling your hand fast. Turn it the other way and you roll. We are trying to get a thin circle. Very thin, circular and very thin. But at this point, you know, I want to put on a whole heap of flour, you know. So may I say, I am not the best at it, but I try. So I am trying to let you try and to get it with me. The people them who specialize in a roti, I guess them can do it the best. So sometimes I do them. They come out like some of them Caribbean, Caribbean island flag, you know. But sometimes the first one it's very hard, but as you go, you grow. The second one always come out better. So trying to get a circle. Let's see how much we can get. A nice little circle, thin all around. Thin, you must be thin. That's something we are going to roll. You want. We are looking for softness, thinness, and most of all pliability when this thing is properly cool. Next clip. Okay, so this is what we can do best. You need to leave the others wrapped in so they don't dry out. Right here our pan has been slow. You know, you don't need a high heat. Show them. I am going to grease my pan. You hear it sizzling? That means it's ready. So you go gently lift this up now. You see that? So this is what it looks like, and you want to take your time and you want to put it out in there. It doesn't take a lot of time to cook. Okay, you see that? So what I like to do, I like to brush it also with a little oil, and as the oil lubricates it and the heat takes it, it is gonna start forming bubbles. See it form some little bubble, and I go with all kind of little something, shoot them up on that. So I like to do it like this. I don't cook it on too much of a high heat, not too much of a low heat either. So we are gonna, within a minute or less than a minute, you should be turning that. It's like this. You see them bubbles forming? Yeah, so you wanna give it a little time under there that you can have the bottom with that little, you know, that little browny thingy something there. Yeah. So that is what is happening. So you want to have it till you get. You see them bubbles forming? Yeah. It's been aerated right there now. It's cooking on the inside. Yeah. So we want to see if it can turn up. Maybe it can, maybe it cannot. So we're going to leave it a little more and come back. So we should be ready to flip right now, very gently. You see? You see that? Hot. So you have to angle your hand fast. Also, when I turn, I like to brush it very lightly. Don't put no pressure on it, you know. So with a little more oil. And it's going to cook on the other side. And also, it's going to form a little. So you can make it get as, you know, if you want to get more brown, you can get more brown, you know. But this thing, them thing, you don't take long for cooking, you know. So I see I show you. And we are right there. So you see that it's still bubbling, bloating up, and all of that. It's been cooked. So I right in there. So now we'll get the little ear some. So you know, you keep it. It's not so anything that stays long to cook. One might take a minute from one side to the other. So the next clap, this should be ready right now, fam. And actually it is. Wow. So you want to put it right there, soft and nice. I like to cover it with something very heavy to keep that softness, that eating, that keeps it really soft. Okay, I'm gonna have to keep it on the stove. I can probably move it, but you want to cover it. You don't want no air getting at this point. We're gonna work on the second one. Here we go, number 2 in, you know. So you just set it out a little, just as is. Yeah, very gently. You just brush it with a little. You might not be the person that brush it with anything, but I'm showing you my way, okay? So maybe there are other people that really do it and they don't do this, but this works for me every time. I've worked on these so many times and they never come out. So I have tried this and it is working. You see that? So number 2 is in. Bubbles all start forming and all of that. You see that. Next clap. Okay, so here we go, fam. We're gonna be onto the final part of this tutorial right here. Wow, right now. So these are our wraps. We got 4, very pliable. They're still warm. So I'm gonna leave that one. I'm gonna show you how to make a wrap, okay? So you're gonna keep these until, you know, I told you they're basically cool down now. So you don't have no problem. Yeah, so I'm gonna proceed to make a wrap for you. Let me use, okay, and you can use anything, any filling of choice for this. So this is my callaloo and it has cooled down somewhat, and I'm going to be putting, just like, you don't want it too bulky, you know what I'm saying? So I think this should do it. So I'm just going to show you how I'll make one. Some people come so, and then come so, and then them fold. But you know, you do what suits you. Do what suits you. So you see that? We have one. So some people miss them put, you can use a toothpick to hold this, or you can melt some cheese and hold it, whatever. I'm going to make another one for you. These are good for lunch. They're good for supper. They're good for anything, with any form of filling. So let us make another one. And get your hands all over it. Your hands are clean and they are yours. You don't need to be putting on a latex glove or so with some chemical or something make if you do your food. You know, get your hands all over. It's your food. So some people do, as I showed you before, some people do this and then they come like this. Do what works for you. Foley, try foley, and you want a wrap. You want to get a wrap. Go person, go like it, go on too much. Yeah, this my callaloo is juicy. So look here, I'm gonna put it on a plate and I'm gonna cut it and show you. So I'm gonna show you. You can either cut it straight or you can cut it slant. But cutting it slant, it gives a more better presentation. Make sure so your knife sharp, you know. This one I look like what's the pan. Maybe I want it to wrap a little. So here you go. Let's cut. Yeah, cut. So here you go. Number 2. So better look, because this one was folded tighter. So here you go. So from my kitchen to yours, from my Jamaican kitchen to your family table, to your palate, and most of all to your stomach, it's callaloo and corned beef wrap. Please do enjoy. Thanks for watching.